Hey, shalom, shalom, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Ponderings of the Perkei Avot, where today we're going to be talking about Perkei Avot chapter 5, verse 19, and it reads like this. Any love that is dependent on something, when the thing ceases, the love also ceases. But a love that is not dependent on anything never ceases. What is an example of a love that is dependent on something? The love of Amnon and Tamar. And one that is not dependent on anything, the love of David and Jonathan. 2 Samuel chapter 13 gives the story of Amnon and Tamar, where Amnon was the brother of Tamar. And man, he had the hots for a sister. Of course, you've got to remember that they weren't full-blooded brother and sister because David had several wives and therefore had many children, so they weren't directly related. But, you know, they had the same father but not the same mother. But Amnon was just, oh man, he was just head over heels in lust for Tamar. And so he got some bad advice from his friend saying, hey, pretend to be sick, have Tamar come over and take care of you, then there's your chance to get you some. Well, as it turns out, that's the way it happened. And he thought he loved her so much, but once he had had his way with her, she became disgusting and despicable in his sight, and he kicked her out, and she goes, don't do this, at least marry me. You know, don't put me away in disgrace because of what you've done to me. So it shows that, you know, his love was dependent upon something that he thought he wanted, but when he got it, it wasn't exactly what he wanted at all. I believe it's Star Trek, where Spock says, you know, sometimes wanting is more pleasurable and more fulfilling than actually getting that what you think you want. That's a paraphrase, but that's kind of the general idea of it. And so, you know, this love was dependent upon something, and once he didn't get her total submission, and he got what he thought he wanted, he hated her, didn't want her anymore, kicked her out. So you know that's not true love. That's lust. That's not love at all. But true love is not dependent on anything. In other words, there's no conditions, there's no strings attached. And David and Jonathan, well, okay, Amnon's love was a selfish love. It's what he could get, what he wanted. Now the love between David and Jonathan, it wasn't dependent on anything. It was a selfless love with no strings attached. Each of them would give the shirt off their back or their lives for one another and not expect anything else in return. And that was the kind of love that they're talking about here in this Perkei Avot. And all that we would love our brothers and sisters in Messiah Yeshua that way, where we would love and not expect anything in return, where we would love just for the sake of loving. That we would realize that, you know, we may not be biologically related through blood, but Yeshua's blood is thicker than human blood. You know, you've heard the saying, blood is thicker than water. You know, but human blood is water compared to the blood of Messiah, how it binds and how it seals relationships. So that's kind of what I want to bring to you across through the Perkei Avot today, but also remind you of what it says in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, which is the love chapter. And let me just kind of read that to you just to kind of jog your memory. And it says, though I speak with the tongue of men and of angels, but have not love, I've become a sounding brass or a clanging cymbal. And though I have the gift of prophecy and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have all faith so that I could remove mountains, but have not love, I am nothing. And though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned or to be martyred, but I have not love, it profits me nothing. Love suffers long and is kind. Love does not envy. Love does not parade itself. It is not puffed up, does not behave itself rudely, like Amnon, and does not seek its own, like Amnon, is not provoked and thinks no evil, does not rejoice in iniquity, but rejoices in the truth, bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never fails. But where there are prophecies, they will fail. Where there are tongues, they will cease. Where there is knowledge, it will vanish away. But we know in part, and we prophesy in part. But when that which is perfect is come, then that which is in part will be done away. And when I was a child, I spoke as a child. I understood as a child, and I thought as a child. But when I became a man, like David and Jonathan, I put away my childish things like Amnon. But now we see in a mirror dimly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then I shall know just as I am known. And now abideth faith, hope, and love, these three things, but the greatest of these is love. So, shalom, and Shavuot Tov Mishpucha. See you next time. Bye.